health service and in our hospitals, and they are being coerced to take this experimental syringe, which will alter their unique DNA and could kill them, could paralyze them, could blind them. And these people are a growing number they're part of a growing cohort of nurses, doctors, healthcare workers, catering staff, security, all of the people who work in our beleaguered health system. This number is growing. More and more of them are coming out and saying no. They're being coerced. They go into work every day and they're being harassed by HR. Are you getting the vaccine today? Are you getting it? Are you getting it? And these people probably know more about medicine than the average consultant in this country. And they are saying, no, sorry, we are not. Some of them are being forced to work from home. They're being told that their jobs might be gone. So I'm really, really proud of these people who are coming on this evening. Now, this evening, they're going to talk anonymously as whistleblowers, but I think they're probably reaching their limit. And at that point, they may consider going public. And once that happens, it is the beginning of the end for all of us in this country. And this scam is going to end for once and for all. So let me just introduce the team that we have here. And you can see everybody is there. Now, we've one gentleman who's going to begin, whistleblower 3. Can you just fill us in? I think your mic may be muted. No, I think you can hear me okay, whistleblower 3. Can you?
I can.
How are you? Thanks so much for joining me this evening. Can you fill me in on what life has been like for you in the last few weeks?
There's no words to even describe how much coercion, and it's just relentless for the staff who just don't want to take the experimental injection, and it's no matter how many times you say to them, you're deferring it. They say, you're refusing it. No, I'm deferring it. And then they're bomb, they can't believe that you're saying, well, how long are you going to defer it for? Well, until the clinical trials are over, until 2023. So they were bombarded really by what I knew anyway. And considering that, I also told them about the, the Act of Parliament Act in 236 on vaccine, the section 731 on the European Parliament, that nobody can be coerced, bullied, or they don't even have to be given an answer. You don't have to answer that question, but they're just relentless. It's just, I can't describe it. Personally, I've been down in occupational health a few times by the clinical nurse managers. I've hounded loads of times, and it just hasn't stopped. It's just relentless. And it's very sad to agree. I can handle it because I'm well able to speak for myself, but there was one particular nurse, a training nurse, and my heart actually went, I'm absolutely disgusted by it, because she was a training nurse and won the awards, and she was told that, I think she was in year 2 or year 3, she was told if she didn't get the vaccine, the sister said to her she wouldn't work on the ward. She was absolutely petrified, going to get married, have kids, and she went down and she got the vaccine. But she came back up. A fellow colleague of mine said she was absolutely traumatized. She went home, but she wants to plan her life, and have kids and get married and do stuff like that. And then she had someone saying to her, she told them, I don't have to take it. They still didn't listen to her. They had told that she wouldn't further her education. This is just, it's gone beyond a joke. Do you know what I mean? Like, it really, really is. And it's not even funny, because even our unions have hounded them as well and told them not to do anything, we told all about the rules, the Geneva rules, and the ones on the Nuremberg Code as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's unbelievable. It just hasn't stopped, and a lot of people are going out sick, and they're out with anxiousness, and they just can't face it anymore,
That's absolutely horrendous. Maybe I could bring in whistleblower 1 at this stage, if you can hear me okay. How are you? And thanks very much for joining me. Could you just give an impression of what life is like for you, what you're experiencing?
It'd be very similar to the whistleblower number 3. I was just told in a general chat that I was going to be working from home. And I was the couldn't believe it. It was like, how can I work from home? You know, what do we do at home? You know, my sanity, the only way I get out is to work. I love my job. I love what I do. And I was told that you're a high risk to the patients and your colleagues. And I explained, but hang on, since COVID started back in March, I've always PPE'd, or like wore me PPE. I've always been very careful with my patients and with the colleagues. Nothing has ever happened. I've never passed on anything. I've never had COVID. And I was still told, no, you're high risk. You will have to work from home. I asked for a bit of information regarding the vaccine, which I'm still awaiting on. The union is still awaiting on the stuff as well. It's gone well over a week now, and still nothing from the management regarding my request for the information.
What did you ask for?
I asked for the product information leaflets on the vaccine. I also asked for the health and safety data on the vaccines. And I've also asked them for the policy, the hospital policy. And still nothing. After a week, still nothing. It's caused, you have no idea, the stress and the anxiousness, the worry, you know, to be told, like to be told that you have to work from home, but then they want you to work. You know, they're changing their minds. Like I was told then I can go back into work. And I was kind of like, hang on, I was told I was high risk. How am I low risk now? But no, they're so ignorant to us. I was told if you feel dirty, I was told how would I rest my head on my pillow at night if I was to bring COVID in and one of my patients died from it. How would I sleep at night knowing that?
Right.
Like how? Yeah, that's how bad it's gone. And every year getting caught on the corridors. Are you going to take it? Are you going to take? Are you not going? Will you sign this? Will you sign the form to say you're not going to? You're like, hang on. I never said no. I just said I was declining it till the trials was over, till the outcome of this is we can see it in paper, and you can see what's going to happen. Oh well, we can't have that. I even told them. I said it's not even FDA approved. They literally sat there and told me, the management, oh, it is FDA approved. And I was like, no. And they were like, no, it is FDA approved. But also then they won't take liability if anything happens to me. You know, nobody, like none of these vaccine companies or anybody will take liability if anything happens to you. People don't realise that. So you're going to, like, if anything happens to you and you're left paralysed, nobody will look after your family or you. So,
well, Dawn,
people just won't wake up.
What are the doctors and nurses behaving like in the face of this? Because they're the ones in whose safety patients' health is put. They don't seem to be raising concerns in the way that staff like yourselves, healthcare assistants, the people who do all the hard work, the actual nursing, you do the actual nursing, people like you. But how are they behaving?
I'm going to be honest, doctors don't treat us, we're like crap in their shoe. Doctors don't really like talk to us. You know, they wouldn't ask us about, we would be with the patients more, you know, because we're the assistant with them. So we would be talking to them, washing them. We would spend an awful lot of time with them. And the doctors just look at the bed notes. So they're just, no. But to be honest, their hygiene is atrocious. Like their hand hygiene and everything is atrocious. Like some of them go around with the same mask on them into each section, and you know they don't use as per the guidelines. You're meant to use the hand gel at the ends of every bed. Doesn't be done. I observe it all, and then they wonder how this COVID is spreading. You know, a lot of them wear the exact same PPE in every section to every patient.
I think it's fair to say, and thanks for that. Maybe we bring in whistleblower 2 or 3 or 4 now. It's fair to say that in your hospitals, you did not see any dramatic increase in patients last year during the so-called pandemic. You didn't see much evidence of COVID. You saw a lot of TikTok dancing and Jerusalem dancing, right? Who wants to come in there? Have we got whistleblower 2? No? Have we 3?
Yeah, 3's still here, yeah.
Would you answer that? Because I don't know where the other 2 have gone. Would you answer that? You were saying that you didn't see much activity last year, but since the vaccine began, A&E is suddenly much busier.
Yeah, it's just, it varies from day to day, but look, a lot of the doctors and a lot of the nurses are wide to the whole situation. They know what's going on. They're afraid to open their mouths as well, you know? They really are. A lot of them know that they just know what you call it. They just know that stuff's going down, you know, that's not right, you know what I mean? But they're all afraid to talk, you know? It's like us, we're talking now, Jimmy, you know, but there's a lot of nurses who are afraid to talk. You're only on your break, you can talk about stuff, I'll be honest, you know? And you can feel it, that they want to talk, they want to tell the truth, they want to tell more stories, but they're afraid of losing their jobs. You know, they really are, they're petrified of losing their jobs, you know?
So they would risk their health above their jobs?
Well, it looks like a lot of them actually did. They did because they did take the vaccine, you know. But I really don't believe that a lot of them don't understand that it's not approved by the FDA. It's like when I was up against one of the sisters in charge, and she told me, I said to her, "Come here, you know, and I know it's not. It's still under clinical trials until 2023. Am I right?" And she said, "Yeah." So you're telling me you know it's under clinical trials until 2023, but yet you still want me to take it? I mean, where's the logic in that? So, it's you know, and then on the CDC website too, it tells them as well, you know, that's what you call it, that it's not, it doesn't work, you know, but they know this, they're just pushing it. There's other people behind them pushing them as well, absolutely, you know, but
yeah,
I can't believe that they're still pushing it through, because until people cop on the amount of people that actually have died and are affected by these vaccines, it's unbelievable. The press hasn't even touched on the amount of people that have blood clots. It's unbelievable. It's mind blowing that the world has kept their mouth shut, even though people know, you know, on the streets, you know, from talking to people know what's going down. They just want people of influential power, maybe someone a star, maybe someone very famous, to come out and say, look, this has gone on too far. We have to tell the people the truth. The numbers are totally exaggerated. You know, it should have never been called a pandemic. And doctors know that, and nurses know that. They know that. You know, a lot of them know that, and they're afraid to say something. You know.
I know, but also they're being told that it takes 5 to 10 years apparently to develop and undergo all the safety trials for vaccines, and COVID has been. The injection has been in the market for less than a year. Now, there's no scientific evidence that it's safe. There's no prevention infection or given any immunity against coronavirus. And people are still jumping to get it because apparently billions of money has been put into this and they're just being given out. But I can't understand how research from 5 to 10 years is put into less than a year. I can't get my head around that. And then also I was informed by somebody that with all the new variants coming out, everybody's going to have to keep getting boosters for this. So it's not just 2 vaccines, or with the Johnson & Johnson, it's only one jab. I was told that when all these new variants, because you have the Indian one now, apparently we have a Thai one now as well. And we're going to have to get all boosters for all these. So I can't understand how people are just jumping to get this and thinking it's great because they're going to get away. They're not.
Whistleblower, can I?
Yeah, have we number 2 there?
It's number 4 here.
Great. Number 4. Let number 4 in for a moment there, please.
Hi, whistleblower number 4 here. I just want to jump in there just to say, and on behalf of all that staff and all the population that has felt forced into this, some people were left without a choice, basically. They had families to take care of home, so they were not willing to be out from work. So the majority of the people that I know, staff-wise, is actually felt forced into this. And to be honest, I don't think they are going to be willing to go for this third jab if it was going to be like that. But the majority, I can confirm, has felt forced, put under pressure, stressed over this. The way we feel, I go into work every day and it's just a battle every day. And the management coming in constantly asking me, when am I getting the jab? Is this the way you want to work? This is not what you signed up for. Do you not miss your patients? Of course I miss my patients. Of course I do. But I can guarantee that the majority has been forced and put under stress, and they just couldn't hold it anymore. So I want to speak on behalf of all the people that had to and felt forced into this. And I want to talk on behalf of them as well, actually.
Yeah, that's good.
Do you know, and thank you, do you know many of them do they have regret? Do they regret? Did they feel untoward afterwards?
Definitely, yes. They have regrets. I just this morning I was speaking to one of my colleagues and she said, but like, if I knew that this was going to be the outcome and that we actually don't know what's going to happen, turning back, I definitely wouldn't have done this. So of course they have regrets. They were just pushed into it, and the majority had said to me, oh, it's not just, I don't want to go through the hassle. That's their answer. Not one of them had said, oh, I'm getting this vaccine done because we're going to stop this pandemic. No, because they are all aware that this is not the solution. This is not the solution, and we don't know if it's going to work. So the majority, I can confirm, has been stressed and forced into it. And I just want to relate to this as well, saying that I was granted a course that 2 weeks ago, exactly 2 weeks ago, it was taken away from me. And I had my dates established to start my course, and that has been taken away from me. Now, what has that got to do with a COVID vaccine? I am not entitled anymore to have that course for me because they have granted it for me and they took it away from me.
It's unbelievable. I mean, they are breaking every single employment law in the book, what they are doing. I mean, nothing like this has happened before in our country, but you cannot take that vaccine out of you when you finish the shift. Exactly. They want to permanently alter your DNA. That's what it does. There's no dispute about that. Exactly. Cause no end of potential damage to your body. And they're threatening you left, right and centre if you don't take it. It's criminal. It's criminal.
That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, like a lot of my colleagues now as well, they kind of were forced into it when it first came out. They all jumped on it. To be fair, everybody thought, oh, we go away, we'll get away. Because a lot live abroad, like are from abroad, different countries around the world. So they all thought, oh, we'd be home with our families, and they hadn't seen them. They had such, you know, through them it was horrific that they couldn't see their families, and then they're seeing things on the telly, which we all know majority of it was false. But they were just seeing these images, and I remember even on my ward, people crying, staff crying, just to be home with their loved ones. And then we had patients obviously dying, and not of COVID, and their families were not allowed up, and we had to sit with them till their last minutes. I mean, like, you know, you would never leave anyone on their own dying. But that's where you're kind of like, hold on, that is our job. That's what we do. We look after people that are ill. Hopefully they get better. If they don't, we make them comfortable. We stay with them through the very, very end if their family is not there. And we did that. And it was so unfair as well on families not being allowed up. It was so unfair. Because all now is just a face mask. That's all that's blocking people from coming up, a face mask. Like, I can't understand how a face mask is blocking you. Like, if that was the whole case from the whole year of wearing a face mask, now it's gone to taking the jab. But I thought the face mask protected you. Now it's not. Oh no, you have to take the jab now. So does that mean now visitors coming up to see their family members have all got to prove that they've had the jab? So it's going to be prolonged now for them to see their loved ones.
It
So,
is barbaric.
you know,
That's a very, very good point. And thank God for people like you who were in looking after the sick and the dying when they were denied the presence, the company, the love, the friendship of their families, their friends coming in to see them. It's what keeps people going when they have to go into hospital. And
yeah.
you must have been through the worst year imaginable. And now you're heading into 2021 and it's getting even worse.
Yeah, we're forgotten now for, frontline heroes, all that, the clapping on every Thursday for everybody. Public didn't realise what was going on behind the scenes. And I still don't think they do. Or maybe they're just closing their eyes and burying their heads in the sand. But now it's not even COVID anymore. Like, every ward is open back up. They're all, as we call it, they're clean. But we're now the dirty ones. That's the way we're looked at. We're the dirty ones now.
Yeah.
And it's so unfair on us. We were in there and it was very frightening for us at the very start. Come March, all of this. Oh, I can't even describe the fear around the hospital at that time. It was horrific. Everyone was crying. Nobody knew what they were doing. PPE was short. There was PPE given in that that wasn't even for medical use. And we were throwing it on us, and Gemma,
Chaos.
It's soul destroying now that we're just thrown aside, work from home. We were trained to look after people, sick, dying, all, we're carers, nurses, doctors, everything. Why force this injection that isn't even going to work on us? Because as we're told, as new variants come in, we're going to be getting more vaccines put in, or injections put into us. How many variants is there? I've never known a virus to have so many variants.
Well, there aren't any. It's all fake. I know we have one whistleblower who hasn't come in yet. Maybe you'd like. Oh, you're here, great. What is the hill that you will die on in this? Where do you say right? And not, because I know none of you are going to take it, and I mean, you're echoing the feelings of so many other healthcare workers all around the country. So, at what point do you say, right, that's it? I mean, you're obviously going to have to you can't work from home. That's impossible.
Can I just say the conditions, though, for working at home, just so everyone is well aware that what this hospital in particular, and it's one hospital, it's not all hospitals, but just anyone who does work in a hospital, it's well worth taking note of this. What they want us to do, the ones who have chosen, because it's their right not to be vaccinated, they want to either redeploy us to obviously a setting that doesn't have a patient or any staff, or they want to deploy us home. And if they deploy us home, we keep our contract, we keep our premiums. So basically, if we refuse the vaccination, they're willing to let us sit at home, basically doing no work and pay us. And all we want to do is get back in there and provide the care that we provide every day. This has only come up in the last couple of weeks. And to say they've hounded us is an understatement. You could be getting up to 15 phone calls in a day from the vaccination centre. Oh, it doesn't end. There is literally no way of getting away from it. You're either anxious when you're in work, you're anxious outside because you're nearly waiting for the phone call. And it's very worth adding that in the middle of all of this, and when it was busy in March, when they did have PPE, it was very scarce. It was nearly hidden at times and you couldn't use it. And the absolute state of what we had to use, you had aprons that didn't fit, aprons that didn't close. We hadn't got the proper masks. We were literally rationing out everything. But they were willing to clap or organise a clap on a Thursday. Well, they're not out clapping and supporting us now. They have people absolutely terrified. And I'd say in the last 2 weeks, I know a lot of people that got that vaccine because they broke them, because it was constant and consistent, and they just, you know what, they just could not take that anymore. And in a time where like mental health is really highlighted in the media, they need to start having a little look closer to home, because they are tipping people over the edge. And to be honest with you, particularly hospital staff getting in the vaccine in the last couple of weeks, they're the ones that didn't want to get it.
Right.
But they just, nobody listens. No, I'm declining. That doesn't mean anything to them.
So
like they don't hear no at all.
They just don't hear it.
No.
It's just, this is the way it's going to be, and there is no debate. Is that right?
No debate.
Yeah, basically.
I know some of you are starting.
And they're turning it into a two-tiered.
Two-tiered.
Sorry, Gemma. They're already threatening to turn it into a two-tiered society in this hospital. They've been saying, colleagues don't want to be working with us anymore, which I've asked, and my colleagues didn't even think twice because they know. Secretly, they know what they're just taking it just to go by the rules. But separate canteens, separate bathrooms, separate staff rooms. Come here, we don't even have a decent staff room. The canteen, I don't know how they're going to section that off. But yeah, so there's two-tiered society already being threatened in this hospital. And
obviously they're getting worried though that the momentum is building. I think an awful lot of people, I mean, I didn't meet anyone who'd had any COVID last year. In fact, I didn't even meet people who'd had the flu. Maybe people did look after their health a bit better last year, and they did take vitamin D and vitamin C. But in the last few weeks, I have heard of so many people who have been injured by this vaccine. And I'm not the only one. Everyone knows somebody. And we see that the death figures are going up in this country. We know that 10,500 at least have died in Europe as a result, or direct result of the vaccine. There was a BBC reporter and presenter. We saw Lisa Shaw. She died from seemingly healthy person. Many others dropping dead. So they must be getting very worried all the same, because they will have blood on their hands, and Nuremberg 2 is coming.
But Gemma, we had a lot of people. We need a lot more people to come forward. I'll be honest with you, from my colleagues here in the hospital, I'll tell you, to do this, to speak about this is us. We thought we were putting our necks in the line, but we're not. We're being honest, right? We're not mentioning where we're working. We're not mentioning people. We're not mentioning patients. But we feel that, oh my God, is nobody waking up? Why can't other people just see, say what we see, and they know it too, and they're just afraid to say it. And as I said to you, when you go into a room and you're having your break with some of the nurses, they all know what's going down. They know that half the stories are made up, and you know what? You can say something, but they are terrified to open their mouths. But it's not them. We need more doctors. And I know Dolores Cahill, she's a fantastic immunologist. I swear by her. She's absolutely, and she's great to listen to. You know what I mean? They haven't given her any airtime at all. It's disgraceful. They're listening to the same narrative, the same shit over and over again. People actually still don't understand. They're told it's safe. They don't understand that they're all guinea pigs until 2023. And if anybody checked this out and researched this properly, they'll all know it's still under clinical trials. And people say, what do you mean by that clinical trials? Well, basically, when you take the vaccine, all the data is going to be coagulated, or whatever you want to use a medical term, in 2023. And it's all going to be put in. And then you'll find out how many people died from blood clots, how many people actually died, how many people died from COVID. Do you know what I mean? It's like, people, I really feel like shaking half the world up, and it's just so annoying. And these people know as well. And as you said earlier on, the girl earlier on, there's so many people in this hospital that have got this jab And they're saying there's no effing way I'm ever taking a second one. There's no way. I was bullied, coerced,
Yeah.
you know, and to hear people. And I said, well, what's the story? Would you give it to your kids? Oh, no. Oh, geez, they want to come near my kids. But I said, come here.
Yeah.
That's what's happening next. So I'll tell you one thing.
Yeah.
We'll see what the world does and what
Yeah.
Ireland does when they come for you. Can you imagine someone coming for your kids? They say, we're going to give you this
Yeah.
experimental injection. And you know what? Your kid might be fertile. He might lose his sperm count or whatever. Or your daughter might. We don't know. Are people not really? It's beyond logical comprehension that it's just so frustrating, you know. I wish other people would wake up, you know. It's and you feel like you're the only one that know, and they do know. People do know about it. They know, and the amount of people that have clots from this is absolutely through the roof. We hear it. We hear it from. We hear it from the catering, from all sorts of staff members. Yeah. A lot of people are in with clots, but it's not mentioned. And even when people get this vaccine, like I've never got it myself, so I know you get a leaflet and you can contact someone when you get a bad reaction. They're not actually doing this. I've heard one saying to me that she had a pain around for like 3 days, like serious pain, and then she had her leg swelled up as well, and she had a bruise on it. But I says, you need to tell people about that. You can't just forget about it. You know, you have to tell people. You know, so it's important that people say stuff. You know.
But also, Gemma, I remember from colleagues of mine, now not on my ward, around the hospital, back when, you know, all these COVID cases and all the rest. And a few nurses, I have said, I could see a lot of people in a year or two time going out with post-traumatic stress disorder, because a lot of nurses were made swab corpses and people that were literally dying in bed, swabbing them. You know, and you're hearing all these stories and it's like, oh my God, I really, like, what's the point in that? And at the start, I was so oblivious to it, kind of, you know. It was only during the summer that I kind of opened my eyes more. And I was like, what's that all about? And it's only now, like in the recent months, I'm kind of like, can't believe what they were actually doing. They were making nurses swab corpses or people that were like just nearly dying. Now that to me is just
that is sadistic. That is sadistic.
Yeah.
These are people who are terminally ill, who potentially have a bit of pain going on, and they were sticking these swabs up their noses, and a very, very painful experience. Is that right?
Yeah.
Even though they only had days to live.
Even hours. Yeah. And I've also heard from a person that was in nursing homes going around. She was actually a physiotherapist going around houses, but because of the COVID, she wasn't allowed. So she was asked to do the swabbing of COVID testing in nursing homes. And if the patients were asleep, she was to write down positive. She told me herself she was to write down positive. I said, but how can they do that? Like, the swab needs to be sent off. She didn't get into it then. She just said, look, use your head. That's all she said to me, was use your head. And my brother was standing with me. And he was even like, what was that about? What was that about? And I kind of explained to him, and he was like, oh, that's not real. Don't mind that. That's not real. I was kind of going, no, really? Why would she lie about something? Why would people lie about these kind of things? You know,
because these people they're not nurses or doctors, and they don't care about health. They are implementing a dictatorship in our country, and that is their function, and they're doing it through medical fascism by taking control of everybody's health. And it would make the Nazis blush. It would, what you're describing to me there would make the Nazis blush.
Exactly.
And I want everyone listening to the stream and to imagine your elderly mother or father dying and having that barbaric treatment, having things stuck up their nose so that these maniacs can get their tests up so that they can lock the rest of us down. These are sadists of the highest order, of the lowest order.
And these are from people that done that. They done them tests. They done them. They were absolutely distraught. And I said only the last couple of months, I was like, the amount of people that are going to be suffering with depression, post-traumatic stress, when this all comes out, when
I'm
the truth is really revealed. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, it actually gets worse than you think, because one day, with the rounds with the doctors, I was personally taking care of a patient, and this gentleman was a palliative patient. So that means the consultant had also said that he didn't really have much to live. We were talking about 2 or 3 days. And the following day when I came to work, in the handover, it was voiced to me that this gentleman was due to receive his COVID vaccine. And then I questioned myself and I said, wait a second, but this gentleman only has 2-3 days to live. And we as nurses are doing the best we can to make this gentleman comfortable on these last days of his life. And they're just going to do a vaccine for what reason? So it was actually myself that went to the doctor and questioned about it, because I was taking care of that gentleman that day. And no, I was doing the best I could to make that gentleman comfortable, and I did not want him to have any reaction, because I wanted him to live these last moments in peace and pain-free. So when I went to the doctor and asked, what's the reason behind giving this gentleman a COVID vaccine? I mean, we all clearly know that this gentleman only has 2 to 3 days to live. So just let's leave him in peace. And he turned around and said to me, oh, but he has the right to have the COVID vaccine too. And I said, you're right, doctor. He does have the right to have it if that's what he wants. But is this gentleman actually aware that he has only 2-3 days to live? Or is he living in hope, thinking that he's going to get out of here? Has anybody explained to this gentleman that he has 2 days to live? Because I'm sure that if this gentleman knew that he had only 2 days to live, maybe 3, I'm sure he wouldn't go through the hassle of getting a vaccine. There would be no sense for him getting this. So I was actually delighted. And I said, are we just trying to do numbers here? Are we just trying to do this COVID vaccine to get numbers and making my patient uncomfortable? And I said, doctor, I am not going to leave this day, this shift. If somebody dares to go near that patient and give him that COVID vaccine, I am going to go crazy. And thankfully, I don't know if somebody heard me. Well, the doctor did anyways. And thankfully, that gentleman did not get his COVID vaccine and went peaceably after 5 days, pain-free and comfortable. So it's not about a swab. It's actually injecting somebody that's dying, that has and he was in a single room. So there was no way this gentleman was going to be exposed to COVID. So it gets worse.
I just want to say thank you. And I know from so many of the people listening, they will be saying, thank God for people like you, because there, but for the grace of God, go all of us. Someday, most of us will sadly end up in one of those hospitals. And if it wasn't for people like you standing up and defending patients' rights, my goodness, well done. And did that man die without any family present?
So actually this man was, luckily enough, was able to have 2 sisters there with him. I must say that the manager of my particular ward really had to go against everybody to just, at least for those last moments, just to have somebody there with him. So she had to fight very hardly. I must say she had to fight very hardly, but thankfully at least this gentleman was able to be with the sisters before passing away.
Oh, that was nice.
Well done. Look, if it wasn't for you being on that day, I mean, I imagine they're doing this to most people in palliative who are leaving this world. They're getting the vaccine. It's absolutely disgraceful. Oh
yeah, exactly. And it has no sense. Like, our mission here is to keep them comfortable, and we cannot allow them to have even a little fever, because that's going to not make them comfortable anymore, and it's going to be painful for them. So even a little bit, like a COVID vaccine in that case had no sense at all. But they were pushing it, I don't know for what reason, to make numbers, for business, for money, you name it. I actually don't know, but it's just disgraceful. It has no sense at all.
Well, there's a lot of money behind it, and for every vaccine they give, the hospitals earn money, and yes,
Exactly.
and they're all in the pockets of Big Pharma who are making them. They get their nice
Yeah.
abroad, they get their brown envelopes, and goodness knows what. Did you want to come in there? Number
Who?
2, yourself.
Oh no, I was just about to say, like, the media is concealing all the risks of this, and how much is invested in it, and the medical professions as well. Like the HSE, like they're receiving huge fundings and other sources to promote this.
Oh yes.
I know people that were ringing their doctors for appointments for general health and couldn't get through because the vaccine was being rolled out. And now, look, this is what I heard. Can't say it's truth, but between 60 to 90 euro, some doctors were getting paid per patient to jab them. And we had people, like, I had family ringing 5 days in a row, 5 days in a row to get an appointment with the doctor for just general health, nothing to do with COVID. And I find even now, when you're even, like, I rang my doctor today, just regarding, I won't get into it, but like that, she's a lovely doctor. She is amazing what she does. But today, I couldn't believe it. She was convincing me to get the jab. She was saying to me, "What are you worried about?" And I was like, "Well, I don't want to die. I don't want to be left paralyzed or incapable of doing things. I have a family that I don't want to leave and left. I'm still young. But you'd be more at risk getting COVID and that happening to you than getting the vaccine. And you'll never be able to go on holidays." That was our main thing. "You'll never be able to go on holidays." And I said, "Well, I panic attack anyway on the airplane, so I'm fine with that." I said, "It's still on trial." I said, "It's an experimental injection. I can't say that." And then it was herself that told me that every new variant that comes out will have to have a booster. They'll have to have a booster for it.
Was she saying all this with a straight face? I mean, was she joking?
There's no face-to-face appointments anymore with the doctors. Well, my surgery anyway, it's over the phone. It's phone appointments, so this was over the phone. And I kind of went, "Doctor, you're not really convincing me to actually get the jab. You're actually making me more afraid." I said, "Because you're saying I'd be getting more jabs if the more the new variants come out." And she kind of didn't. She was, "Oh, well, I can't actually put that on your note, blah, 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 blah." And so I just said, "Okay, go on, bye-bye."
Well, good for you. You see, because nobody has stood up to these people ever. It's a bit like, the politicians, the consultants, medical consultants, RTE journalists. The Irish people just fawn. They fawn all over them. They plumoss them. They go along with them. They, allow themselves to be made complete fools of. And when you stand up to these scumbags, excuse my language, it's surprising how they react, because they're all bullies, and all bullies are cowards deep down. So by your actions, all of you standing up to them, this is something they don't know how to handle this. And you will be saying that if anything happens to me, I know none of you are going to get this vaccine, but if anything happens to me, the buck stops with you. The buck stops with you, and that's the bottom line. These people are all going to be named and shamed, and there will be Nuremberg trials. And believe you me, we're coming for these people. Their days are numbered in terms of their careers, and they will be going to jail.
Well, I just want to really emphasize on how much none of us want to work at home, and none of us want to be redeployed. We all do love our job, no matter how much is said. Personally, I love what I do. If I didn't, I wouldn't be in that job because it's a very, very tough job.
Yeah. Of
So
course.
just to really emphasize on that, we do not want to work from home or be redeployed and not work with patients or colleagues. And, we really don't want that. We want to be working and helping and looking after people.
Yeah, we have a duty of care, and that's what we
Yeah.
have, it's so, so important, and like, it kills us to know that they're going to send us home, you know what I mean? Like, because we love dealing with people. I love dealing with people. My God, it's great. And do you know what makes your day at the end of the day when someone says to you, Jesus, thanks very much for all your help. It makes your day. It might be for the smallest little thing, but, it makes your day. You could have had a very bad day, and
Yeah.
but it doesn't make a difference because, with people, it's what makes it just fills you up, you know what I mean? Like, it makes you a
Yeah.
stronger and better person for it, Oh,
I know. And I mean, look, I have to say, anytime in the last few years, I've had to go into hospitals to visit family or friends, I actually feel sick going into Irish hospitals because I just see all around me that they're collapsing. So I applaud you and respect you so much that you are people who actually love getting in to work in that very, very difficult system that is our health service. But you go in to serve our sick, and that is the most important job that you can do. There is nothing more important than looking after the sick. You're absolute heroes, every single one of you. And God forgive these people for what they're doing to you. That's all I will say. Do you want to each just finish off with your final thoughts? Maybe start with one and go round.
I just want to say thank you very much for having us on the show, and please God, we've opened people's eyes and they don't look at us any differently, and thinking that we're selfish to not get this vaccine. And just, we do love our job no matter what anybody thinks. And while families are not allowed up there, while I'm in my ward, your family is being looked after.
Yeah. Very true. Very true.
And yes, that well, thank God. And the last thing we want is for you to be working from home. What about yourself, number 2?
I think just that to get the message out there that right, it's happening in our hospital, but they're coming for you, people in other hospitals next, because this isn't the law of the land. This vaccine is not mandatory, but they're trying to make it that way. And just really, we do our very best, and they're not patients to us. They're people before they're